Jim Joyce. Come
We
on.
did it.
You can
We
do
did
it.
it. We did it. Eugene B.
All right, I'll take it. I'll take it. Eugene B. I'll take it.
I'm just paranoid. I was practicing it actually. I'm paranoid. I'm going to do it wrong. You know.
Come on, you're an entrepreneur. There's no such thing as doing anything wrong. It's just,
Little lovely learning experiences.
Exactly. Speaking of learning experiences, we got tagged by I think just DaMassa and Matthew Holt are their learning experiences to be meticulously unproduced in their last Health 2 and 2.
Minute 7:26 said they fell apart. They're very produced. They're very produced. Actually,
That was great.
I use their podcast to keep. They do a good job keeping tabs on all these deals.
No, I love it. I think it brings the you say it's very produced. I mean, yes, they're structured in it, but I mean they're just two fun individuals that bring it to us live or near live, whatever.
They've been doing it for years.
Oh gosh, I did one of the first takeovers, Matthew Holt takeover. That was I want to say in Romania for Ice Health or something. So this was years ago. I don't remember. Need to check in with Lorena, but I did want to touch on, even though we're going to leave the real news and dissection, but I just saw something flash through. Amazon Care's medical provider filed for like 17 more states. So I'm actually curious on what that means to our friends at Crossover Health, like Scott, right?
Right.
Their expansion. And then they also, I just saw like literally it's like one by one. It's Amazon Care, Intermountain, and Ascension launched a hospital at home association of some sort, right? Like just now.
Right.
What else? Oh, my old alma mater, which is now Evernorth, but Express Scripts, Medco, aka Cigna now.
You were Medco that was part of Express Scripts, which
So
is
I joined Medco when it was still part of Merck before the spinoff. So that was the really early days. But but the reason I brought them up, I saw Cigna, Evernorth just bought MD Live, right? So this whole game is just happening. And
MD Live is that seems like a mammoth deal, like a mammoth.
I actually didn't see if they announced it or not. But we'll rely on Matthew and Jess to bring it to us. And I'm surprised that she didn't have the co-founder of MD Live. Maybe she did on WTF Health.
It was in the show notes, so I haven't spent a few minutes looking at it. So they
look at that. See. Anyway, speaking of like deals, and I was actually like texting him right before, like T-45, T-10, because the guy is here and then he's no longer here. And so I'm going to welcome in Michael Dillhyon.
This is great. Was he calling in Colorado?
I don't know. He could be calling in from a plane for all we know. But
right.
You just never know. Just never know where this guy is.
There he is.
For the listeners, we got Michael Dillhyon on the slopes dancing in front of probably Ollie's iPhone. I don't know.
That's Sleeping Giant right behind us.
That's Sleepy Giant.
There you go.
This is your backyard, man.
Yeah, man.
This is your backyard.
You're right. Mom, I'll take a bologna and cheese.
So, Michael, before we'll let you. So you were doing stretching. You're gonna. Are you gonna actually like ski with us? Also, I think we might wanna.
Not that talented.
No,
you don't. That would. Yeah, this is actually lunch break. Multitasking. I'm like, all right, gonna stop. Gonna have a little chit chat with my besties, Eugene B, Jimbo Bay.
So what's happening, man?
All right. Are we talking healthcare? Or are we just shooting the breeze here? But we gonna get
Well,
serious?
we want
little bit of
to.
both.
No, we don't have to get serious. We always said that healthcare is
Okay.
missing some fun, but we do want you to
For sure.
introduce yourself to our millions and millions of viewers and listeners, and tell us
Oh,
how
my.
you ended up on this ski slope.
Cover the
Wow, man. I don't know if your hour-long show's quite gonna cut it. Let's see. Started out as a non-healthcare entrepreneur, moved to Switzerland, decided, wow, having all this extra cash around is no good, no bueno. So got involved with some healthcare entities in Switzerland. I was the chairman of a bioinformatics company called Gene Bio down in Geneva. God bless the CEO, who's now the CEO of Biopol, big incubator out there. He put up with me for 4 long years, but it was fascinating, right? I mean, I'm sitting around going, hang on a minute here. You guys have annotated proteomic libraries that are exclusive to you, and the only people you can sell them to, or we can market them to, are these big, gigantic companies making, long syllable words like spectrophotometer and Bruker. And they're like, oh yeah, because, health data is special. And I was like, oh, wow, okay. That's funny, because I don't remember any other data being that special. And that just kind of got me started. I did that, and then I was lucky enough to take a stint with Systems X, which is a gigantic, even by anybody's standards, but for Switzerland, billion-franc early stage life sciences fund. That was really an eye opener.
I think this is when we met, actually, of course, through Health Excel, but I think this is when we met because I was trying to sell you some services of SoftSurf at the time. So,
say that really just quick 5 times.
Oh, gosh, no.
Yeah.
Ice cream.
Yeah,
wait.
Exactly. I didn't, seems like an old joke, so I didn't pull it out. But yeah, it's exactly when we met, dude. And I had just been introduced to the nice people from VitalConnect, which is how I think made my splash on the Health Excel stage. So part of Systems X was a lot of early stage wearable sensor ideas. I just thought, wow, this is pretty cool, right? I mean, super naive about all these other things that we'll probably talk about, like, who will pay for it? How does it fit in the care continuum? How difficult will it be to actually make one of these so it works and has efficacy? But, back then I was like, oh yeah, right. You have a gadget and then poof, you put it on a patient, everybody loves it, right? And so I ended up joining VitalConnect. That was the beginning of the EKG patch thing. Prior to all this, I'd done some angel investing in just pure tech companies, but I was also really interested in seeing where there were existing dormant, if you will, technologies in healthcare, and sort of taking what I'd done in the past and bridging that over, given that I, at the time, didn't know diddly squat about the realities of healthcare. I actually, myself and a good friend of mine who was a former partner at Cooley, Rich Frank, I'll give him a shout out, awesome guy. We paid some software designers at ETH to come up with this, and this will be somewhat interesting, this Twitter interface for doctors and clinicians. Doctors and clinicians. Yeah, those two groups. Clinicians and patients.
Right.
And we service marked Health-O-Matic. If you search my name, you'll see it out there. And we started shopping this around. And back in 2014, 15, everybody was like, oh, that's ridiculous. Yeah. No way, real-time interface. So it was a real circuitous path, if you will. And then VitalConnect was my springboard, like I said, to Health Excel. And I was like, who's this Jim character, man? He's hilarious. And I think
it's the jokes.
Dude, he's just.
But I mean, on the VitalConnect stage, I remember this to this day. Like you were on stage with one of the patches on your chest, and you had the live you know, and I can't believe it was actually live. You had the live signals going up to the presentation, and then your mother-in-law called and your numbers spiked through the roof. It was the best presentation.
You know, our good friend Marty Kelly came up to me, I don't know, a year or so after that, and he said, "Come on, you know, tell me the truth. Did you stage that?" And I said, "Man, it would be genius if I did, but no, it's perfect. It was perfect."
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the crazy days of early stage wearables and so on and so forth. So yeah.
And what happened? What happened with VitalConnect? Like, where
They're still around.
Yeah, they're still around.
Yeah.
They so I'm working with one of the co-founders of VitalConnect on a new on a semi-stealth project. I think both of you have heard about it independently, but they're still around. In fact, they finally, and this is just an ode to the entire
Wait,
world.
let's do a big reveal off of the ski slope on the shot. Come out of stealth. Right. Come on, no.
Don't even, Eugene.
I'm tempting you. I know.
We're dating right now. We're going to start that out, and then we'll move into some more discussions about the nuptials. So I remember having this epiphany with VitalConnect, and it was something like this. Wow, this thing's never going to get to market all by itself without, and I'll put this gently for your listeners, a shed ton more money. And it doesn't even seem like there'd be an opportunity to ever make that money back in any reasonable format. And right. I think that's just back in those days, you know, it was like, oh, you got a cool thing. Wow, you could measure EKG, and you could do everything. Okay. Right. But what was missing is you couldn't do the thing that you got paid for. And there was like weird stuff. Like I remember presenting at the European Society of Cardiologists in London and thinking to myself, I get up on stage, you know, we do the little rat-a-tat-tat that we do, you know, the shirt reveal, all of that. And after I get off the stage, I had like a line of cardiologists that wanted to talk to me. And I thought, oh, great, this is awesome. They've got some really interesting use cases. It's going to be super. Almost all of them, to a person, what they said to me was, one, I think you're promoting some sort of dangerous behavior here, because you know, you do need multi-lead EKGs to really determine if somebody has an arrhythmia. Okay, fair enough. I'm not a clinician. But the more interesting part was, then they were like, and well, I don't like the idea that a GP could, you know, I could get out of the referral business from my GPs. I'm like, oh, right.
Follow the money.
Yep. Right. Yep. So that was interesting, right? It was like, oh, okay, gotcha. You really, it's not so much the technology you're not super keen on. It's the fact that just like everybody else, I mean, you know, it doesn't sound like it's going to be, you got to have a benefit to everybody in the puzzle. Otherwise, sounds good.
It's still magic.
It's hard to make it.
It's still magic, isn't it?
Oh, dude. It's, like, you know, the guys that Steve Zadig, one of the founders that I'm working with, I'm like, were you just, and so he's done like 3 semiconductor companies, and, you know, the kind of thing that they did, and it was Steve and a lot of people, the kind of thing they did was pretty crazy. But I just said, so you guys were just sitting around and we're like, hey, I wonder if we could, you know, measure the 8 megahertz electrical signal that comes out of the body and filter out all the noise for somebody's, you know, what's the actual cardiac activity is. Like, kudos to you guys, man. I mean, really. And then we'll make a Band-Aid out of it. Yeah, cool. Yeah. So
I have a very, very important question. What do you have in your bottle? Is it like, I'm just actually curious. I'm not trying to change the topic. I just all of a sudden got curious because my version of skiing is a little flask with a, you know, with a tube. So, and are you measuring your EKG as you ski?
As I'm talking to you guys, it's off the charts because I'm super excited to be talking to both of you.
I have to say, we were nervous that you would be on time. That's why I've sent you the multiple T-minus 45, T-minus 12.
I love it. Yeah, no. I got the, when people say friendly reminder, it's not really a friendly reminder, right? It's just like
you better be there.
Please show up. Of course. No way. No way.
You're definitely intermittent fasting with all the water consumption there. Like is that what you're doing?
Dude, how did you nail that? I mean, for real, I am. It is absolutely 100% intermittent fasting. I hate to, break down my image. It's water. I'm
intermittently drinking every Wednesday.
Right. This is
this could be. I'll pretend it's vodka, man.
All right. Fair enough.
Keeping it real.
So Eugene, I don't know where you want to take the conversation with the brilliant Mike Dillhyon here, but we got to talk deal making here. Like the ultimate deal maker. Like what's going on in the health space right now, man? Like what's your read? How are you feeling? Like
And can I tack on to that question? Just, because I feel like Michael Dillhyon has been disenfranchised, disappointed with the digital health scene. And we kind of stopped hearing from you about the next big thing. And so I miss you personally. I don't know, hence we're talking. So it's a combo question. Deals and your personal feelings about this digital health thing.
I like it. Go.
Right, man. That's a lot to tackle, and
I'll just sit back and relax.
I'll just let me start with the first part. I miss you guys too, man. I cannot wait to get together in Dublin and hang out with people in person that I really respect for their entrepreneurialness, if that's a word, their clear-minded view of what's happening in healthcare, and just the general fun as hell factor. So I miss you guys big time. Now, on to the actual questions. I'd get a little sentimental there. Let me start with the deal thing, because I think it's an interesting bit. Well, first of all, like, what the F on this whole SPAC thing, right? Like, Clover, oh yeah, okay, I know what we're gonna do. We'll just raise a shit ton more money, and then everything will be awesome. So I think it's great if you're an early investor and you want to liquidate. But it seems to me that's usually the canary in a coal mine, because SPACs were around way back in the day. I remember, when I first got to Switzerland in 2003, 2004, going to these investor clubs and, meeting, Hans and Tom, who happened to be experts in making leather gloves. And we were just going to give them money and they were going to start a leather glove company.
Did you just make those names up? Or was it really Hans and Tom?
It probably wasn't Tom. It was probably Hans and Jamey. Thomas. Yeah. I want to be, sensitive, interculturally sensitive. Okay. So I'm very PC, as you know. So and I appreciate no laughter after that. That's really good. You guys are keeping a straight face. So as far as deal making goes, that is definitely a canary in a coal mine, at least for me. But I do think there's two areas where there's just going to be a ton of growth. One of them, and I know both of you guys will be excited to hear this. I think digital therapeutics, whatever. Can we drop the digital thing? But I know it's important because it's an investor profile check mark. But telemedicine, regardless of COVID definitely accelerated it, blah, 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 is going places. And it's going places not because of COVID. It's going places because of people like Amy Abernathy at the FDA and others who are like, who are taking a really serious look at all of these policies, like, wow, holy crap. Now all of a sudden there's a new program where, if you are deemed breakthrough, which by the way I'm sure there's going to be a ton of consultancies that'll help you be breakthrough. You can get up to 4 years of reimbursement without having to go all the CPT pain. There's interoperability discussions. There's just a lot of smoothing the path around telehealth, telemonitoring, remote monitoring, whatever you want to call it. For me, that was a huge expense. That was a huge issue in terms of the rate of return of one's investment. It's why investors have stayed on the outside. It's like, okay, cool. How long? Here's your euro or your dollar or whatever. How long before I get that back? On a good day, maybe 7 years. On a bad day, who knows? That gets shortened. That's really exciting for me.
Which, by the way, I mean, I'm just curious because timing is everything, right? I mean, talk about remote monitoring codes and all of that. Just your time at VitalConnect, where you were just trying to, figure out what and how. And now it's remote monitoring is actually almost the only way to get paid for some of those services, right? On reviewing data, right?
Right.
Not directly,
right.
So.
The CPT 99.xxxx whatever code is, and it's all that unbundling has really, I think VitalConnect is on the road to reimbursement, or it's already happened, and so other things like that. So
you said non-molecular therapeutics. Notice I changed it around.
And
teleservices.
We didn't say small or large molecule yet.
Irrelevant. It depends on, do you have a 17-inch screen or a 53? But
Ooh, now we got screen envy going on. All right.
Yeah,
cool.
Exactly.
And
then the second part is the virtual services piece. Space.
Yeah. So I'm going to switch gears completely and say the two things I think have a lot of opportunity and have a lot of road in front of them. And like I said, I'm leaving insurance out. I'm really fascinated by insurance. I've been in and out of that space a little bit over the last year or so, but it's this idea of the operations piece, the clinical operations side of thing, the lab operations. If you're a biotech firm and you're springing up and you're excited about the opportunity to quickly get your functional molecule to something interesting, speaking of molecules, the typical wet lab in the past has not been what you'd call a optimized environment. It was very say the word operational and say strategic in the same sentence and get a lot of weird looks. I think that space is really taken off around workflows, around monitoring everything, around
I know where you're going with this. I know where you're going with this.
There's a reason.
It's all very elemental.
Oh gosh.
Well done, my friend. Sridhar. He's a Sridhar.
Yeah. Right on. So there's I think those are interesting to me. There are other spaces around, like I said.
He's brilliant.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay,
awesome.
So I'm going to throw the bull argument at you, right? Like I was actually talking to our joint buddy Martin Kelly today. There was an Irish company that just got acquired this morning in the technology space. 20 times sales.
Is that Conor?
Yeah, no, not Conor, not yet.
But he's like, damn.
But just got acquired today, so it was a big deal for us little Irish companies. But but here's the bull argument, right? The migration, this isn't a .com situation because the level of rigor and, we'll say acumen to bring health technology companies to the market is just fundamentally different than anything else. The selection process, this isn't pet food, this isn't, slow modem dial up, like the infrastructure is coming to play. Health is so central. The cost of cash, so cash is available, low cost, why not migrate it, through, more progressive vehicles like these SPAC vehicles? Why not migrate it and force this whole transition of healthcare? Like, are we on like a, 30, 40 year trajectory to modernizing healthcare? That's the bull.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't argue with Marty because, he's a venture capitalist and they're always right. They've got it all figured out. But let me give you guys a soundbite. And I can't say who said this, but it really threw me for a loop, because I saw the whole SPAC craze outside of healthcare, and it ended up being more like bowl-shaped than bell-shaped. And so a bank that you both would know,
That
and a
narrows it
person
down.
well, on the West Coast, and a person that deals with debt and is really involved in the life sciences space said to me point blank, I think SPACs are illegal. I'm like, wow, okay. So
Wow.
I get why a bank would want to say that, because
Right.
you're cutting into their business, but that's pretty strong. Them are pretty strong words to be had. So I hope.
Aren't banks involved?
100%.
I mean,
Yeah. I mean,
you
they're
know, I
taking
just saw
fees.
Deutsche Bank maybe a month ago there's a healthy pipeline of SPACs in Europe, and you know, I'm sure. So you know, there's still a piece, but I get it. I get it.
Yeah. I hope. So if I'm wrong, it's a good thing. You know, it's absolutely more money in this space is going to drive the kinds of people and ideas that have been sitting on the sidelines for forever. I mean, you know, you can't hope to change all these big conference discussions about, oh, when are we going to finally get healthcare to be fully interoperable?
Right.
When the market takes us there,
Yeah.
and you need money to do that.
You know, I just want to add, like, I'm actually on one side, I'm bullish on it because of where digital health is, because it does take money to consolidate, right? I mean, if you think about it, entrepreneurs been good focus on a particular therapeutic area, right? Now it's just not enough. And the counter argument is, well, if you're doing well from an ARR outcomes, all of that, why not just IPO? But I think that's pretty sequential, right? IPO, then go for acquisitions, where here you're pulling assets together and you're able to do that in one shot, right? So it's just a different approach. Like, do you come out of the gate with this, you know, again, I'll use the up health example, right? Jamey and team. Or you do it sequentially. So
yeah, legit companies coming up with a theory, kind of, you know, knitting themselves together. I mean, it's one of these things where the argument feels like it's going to be like some of them are going to nail it and build businesses, and some of them are not, you know, and it's kind of risk capital going at it, right? Like it has to be risk capital. It's not, you know, this isn't widows and orphans, right?
As long as they don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, you know what I mean? You know, so there's always the roll up that's full of polishing of feces type, you know, entities. And I'm trying to keep it PG rated for the kids.
I was gonna say, you know, I don't know, you're talking about gut health consolidation or
no. Biome health. The biome SPAC.
Here's my next question. So you've been you entrepreneur on the tech side. You've done the investment. You've done a mixture of the two. You know, is Michael Dillhyon 70% investor, 30% entrepreneur? 70% entrepreneur, 30% investor. Where do you see how's that moving for you?
Man, you guys are good. I had to skip the therapist and just come straight to you guys when I have something going on.
That's hence the name. Hence the name.
I feel like I definitely selected the wrong beverage for sure. If it wasn't for the fact I've got 5 more calls today. So that's an awesome question, and it's one that I took some time off. One, COVID happened, and I really wanted to make sure my family and the people that I cared about were all in a good place, a safe place. My mom has early stage COPD, so but fortunately everything worked out well for us, but it didn't work out well for a lot of other people. And I just felt like yammering about something that I wouldn't have any. I'm not a virologist, epidemiologist. Yammering about something that one, didn't have any impact on, and two, had very little hard data to even make an opinion about, wasn't going to help anybody. And during that process, I thought about what's going, I love it, you guys. The reason this is my first podcast in a while, or any kind of discussion in a while. And the reason I really like you guys, besides the fact that you're fun and blah, 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 was the thing I said earlier about the fact that you're entrepreneurs. And I think as an entrepreneur, you have an exit, and then you think hey, I'm going to go do investing, and I'm going to put a little bit of here, 25 grand here, 50 grand here, 10 grand here, whatever it is. And then I don't know what else you do after that. You go tend your garden, something along those lines. But most entrepreneurs, it is a problem. I tried retiring a couple times.
An addiction of sorts.
I would definitely classify it full on as an addiction. So when I did angel investing, what I found out was I was a total pain in the ass to the entrepreneurs, because I'm an operator. I like getting in, I like building, I like being part of seeing something grow. That is definitely 100% my personality. So a long-winded answer to your question, Jim, is I'm probably 98% entrepreneur and 2% who knows, pie chart of whatever I have in the remaining hour or two of my week. But I've always wanted to be involved in healthcare. That's why I ended up taking that role at Gene Bio in the beginning. A guy that was running a big fund in Switzerland said, talk me into it, if you will. But it's not just healthcare. It's because healthcare is so damn complicated. If you like a challenge as an entrepreneur, and I'm gonna kick myself for saying this, but if you really like, the most difficult of all businesses to try to stand up is anything in healthcare. I don't care what it is, med device, software, data-driven, intermediary. It's phenomenal. And I'm not patting myself on the back, because boy, I've had a lot of very hard won lessons about what not to do. But I just think that it attracts people. And I hope it'll continue to attract people that have entrepreneurial backgrounds and skill sets and drive, because that's how this whole thing's going to really take off. Plus, yes, cheap money is good stuff.
It's good stuff.
It's cheap money, but again, I think there's so many pieces of tech that advanced, and this is the tech side of it, to assemble solutions. And then smart, everything from business people to clinical people, to put that together on the front end to actually understand the human being's experience, right? And again, I'll pimp out our favorite health beacon, right? It's a beautifully designed device that doesn't even feel like a device, right? So it's like, okay, and it took time, right?
Remember when we were talking around the pool? I love to say this, by the way. Was it Mumbai, Jim?
It was Mumbai.
We were reminiscing about this somehow, and I wasn't there.
It sounds Indiana Jones, right? Like, yeah, you remember back in the day when we were talking on the pool in Mumbai.
This is pre the Indian wedding crashing.
All right, that's enough of that.
I was just waiting for like a big ass snowball or avalanche coming down from and Michael running.
Yeah, I remember the conversation. It was a big conversation.
It was a big conversation, and one is what I found is I love to team up with other entrepreneurs. This thing I'm doing now, all the things I'm doing, I love to. It's super energizing. I'm definitely have done my solo thing, and it's just not as much fun or interesting. But dude, you were laying it down hard around what you wanted Health Beacon to be, and the thing that you said to backstop Eugene's bit, and it's one of my 5 top tips for new med tech entrepreneurs, is focus on the freaking UX, make the UX, everybody's so focused on efficacy in the beginning. And I'm not saying that's obviously it has to be clinically relevant, but for Christ's sakes, don't make it something where it takes 3 people in a soundproof room with hazmat suits on to work, and don't make it look like that. And what comes out a lot of times out of, the labs is is something that hasn't seen the light of day with a clinician or a patient. So yeah, you guys nailed it. Kudos.
So you said top 5 though. Give us at least 1 or 2 more.
Right.
Okay. But I before I forget, because because I don't want to, Eugene. The whole health coach thing. I don't know where that went with that crazy guy that contacted me, but maybe it went someplace positive.
No.
But I love what you're doing with that, man, because that's the other side of this in the whole health monitoring bit. Wellness has been like the third rail that nobody wants to touch. Why? Because no one understands how to tackle it. And I love how you tackle it by, it's like the Amway of healthcare. You're going to kill it, because instead of trying to convince the patient, you're giving healthcare providers the tools which they did not have.
We're not even calling patients, right? These are individuals that want to become the better version of themselves. And
it's brilliant.
There's an army of health coaches. That's a relatively new profession that came into the light to help that through. So
yeah, I love it. I love the idea that you take these kind of like, that's what's all over healthcare, is these like these kind of, we'll say, kind of underutilized resources and people, and it's such a hierarchical system, in there of like, you have the clinician or the professor, and then you go through the clinical system, and everyone has their role, and they're kind of choreographed into that role. And in some ways it can produce phenomenal results, right? Like, people knowing what their role is and how they're playing. It can be like a sports team. You're going in and they're operating on you, and you need people to know what they're doing. But this idea of bringing in this, like, kind of utility player, this passionate person that says, I'm going to reach the person in the home. I love it.
The interesting part,
it's critical.
I just published a blog on Your Coach Health. It's around sort of the intersection of digital therapeutics and non-molecular therapeutics and health coaching. And the way we started it off, the blog, is that, the word wellness, the healthcare system never wanted to touch that with a 10-foot pole, right? Because that always sounded kooky, right? Like, and there's validity now, there's science behind it. And so the two worlds are actually merging, and the realization of the fact, look, we've seen all of this multi-therapeutic businesses merging under one umbrella. We're saying, okay, well, that's equivalent of a holistic way to look at a human being, right? So we can make a whole episode on this, man.
It's all, if it doesn't get solved for, all you're going to wind up doing is selling to sick people.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, that's not a big enough and a smart enough approach to.
I totally missed it. Where are we selling it to?
Sick people.
If you can't, if you can't solve for wellness, I think you're going to have something that'll look back in a couple of years, and it's going to be phenomenal, right? Because you're teaching people, as Jim said, that are quote unquote have traditionally been lower on the rung in terms of the hierarchy and healthcare and healthcare giving, but have a whole lot more exposure to patients, how to approach it in a structured manner. You're giving them structure and giving them some credo, as they should have. And that's it, right? Let's stop going after, oh gosh, great. Our target audience, I'm talking like a med device entrepreneur, is where are the sickest people we can find? Oh gosh, those people are like they're acutely ill. Perfect. That's where we'll sell to, because that's how the healthcare system is set up from a reimbursement. And
Michael, I'm adding, to your predictions list, the non-molecular therapeutics, the tele everything, the augmented labs and workflows, plus health coaching.
Yeah,
baby.
All right,
we gotta cover skiing. We gotta cover skiing.
I thought you want me to do my 5 tips, and then
You can do your 5 tips.
Clicking on my skis and ski out.
Let's do the 5 tips.
All right. I think you guys have given me the impetus. I'm gonna write something down. I'm definitely gonna do it.
On the snow as a snow angel, or
yeah, exactly. Look, Ma, I have wings. I think I might have to do gosh, don't hold me to it. Maybe edit this out of blog, but we'll see what happens. But
there's
first
no
of all,
editing, dude.
Oh, shoot. Darn. Oh man.
But we won't hold you to it. This is
Okay.
this is You know, we got you covered.
Oh. Yeah,
Rewind.
whatever that means. Okay, first of all, I think, the number one bit, and I've already covered one of these, but it's this idea of use case before algorithm. I'm doing the EIT health thing. I'm a reviewer for those guys. I see, like you guys probably do, I see a fair amount of proposals and things. And it all starts out with, oh yeah, we're collecting longitudinal data. Okay, awesome. And we've got AI associated with longitudinal data. Okay, that's awesome as well. Who are you focused on here? And why do they care? And if the only people nodding their heads are you guys, then it doesn't matter if you've got AI. I mean, the use case for my stealth thing, I'll say, was I discovered it on a Scotch trip in Scotland 2 years ago. Yeah, there's Scotch is in there. The second thing I think, or number 2 tip for keeping track here is, you got to walk the talk. And this gets back to, a lot of what's going on right now. And I feel great about this is, more clinicians involved in startups, something that happens in medical school. One of my doctor buddies who used to be a higher up at Optum was like, dude, everything they teach in doctor school has nothing to do, doctor school. What am I, like in 3rd grade? Medical school, doctoring school, doctoring. You got to do doctoring.
I like it, doctor school.
Doctor school. So it is, the complete opposite of what you need as an entrepreneur. Take risks,
Right.
Be very focused outside of, your current environment. So anyways, it's got to walk the talk. And I fell backwards into that. Fortunately, I mean, I don't know how many thousands of hours I spent walking around in hospitals, and every single one of them, UK, US, Australia, Thailand, China, India. I saw something new and I got an epiphany. And I thought, and I'm not doing this every day. I mean, what it must be like to do that and how important that is to do that, I think is really key. And then the thing I already mentioned, the third thing again is, this idea that just have a good looking thing. Try that on for size. Ask people about it. This whole thing about efficacy is just maddening because let's face it, yes, efficacy is important. If it doesn't do what it say you're going to do, you're sunk anyways. But more importantly, if you spend all that time getting efficacy together and you haven't talked to somebody that does design and nobody wants to use your thing, you wasted 2 years on the clinical trials. And then, yeah, exactly. It's crazy how many times I read through a pitch and it's like, dude, I don't want to see another graph on all of your data collected because I'm looking at the thing and it looks like, you're strapping a refrigerator on your back. Not going to work. Trust me. So, I mean, seriously, I mean, I'm not being too far out there. And then, I mean, really, we could talk sidebar some of the funny proposals I've seen. And then, it's more along the look and feel. I always say, just network a lot, master a little. You can't cover, like we've been talking about this whole podcast, but you can't be a master at everything in healthcare. It's like the Chinese Go. If I don't know if you guys play that, but it's just like you got multiple chess games going on at one time. So figure out your thing that you're good at: quality, healthcare economics, commercializing, the clinical side of things, compliance, whatever your thing is. Get good at a couple of those, and then have a great network of people like you two to ask a bunch of favors for when you're early on trying to figure out, if what you've got really makes a lot of sense. So, I just feel like that's key. And then I guess finally and it took me a while to figure this out because I really had a little bit of the imposter syndrome in the beginning. I had a fair bit of money to spread around, but I hadn't spent any time in hospitals. 10 years ago, I didn't spend any time in hospitals. I'm walking around going, gee, I really don't know who or what to connect with. Oh, you're a famous physician. Oh, I should connect with you. And it's don't work with jerks. Life's too short. It all sounds very cliched. And the corollary of that is if you work with friends, know thyself. I don't think it's a big surprise, but I'm a little hyper competitive.
I had
And,
no
you
idea.
know, I know. Well, that's the big
Shocker.
reveal. I'm hyper competitive.
Shocker.
So I know. So it's important, and that everybody is transparent as a team about themselves. That's what happens when you get over the age of 50. I know you guys don't know anything about it being in your early 30s, but it's a little bit of self-awareness, and unfortunately it doesn't come as an avalanche. At least in my case, it came in little dribbles. But just learning that it takes a group of people with all their skill sets and a lot of awareness about each other to get there. So anyways, that's 5. And then I'll tell you real quick about SpectraFlow if you care about it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Can you do it in
I don't even know what time
67
we have.
seconds?
Yeah, man. Wait, I'm going to wait until there's like 10 left just to make it fun. Non-invasive device, potentially wearable, for detecting fluid variation in limbs currently. First use case, breast cancer related lymphedema, kicking off our clinical trial any day now. Just finished up we got a US patent granted. You don't have to put that dumb little pending thing in any of your decks. And the idea obviously is moving forward is, once we get enough data and feel out the patient compliance piece and feel out where clinicians and patients want this to go is moving farther afield from breast cancer. But breast cancer right now, it's awful, right? I mean, you find out you have breast cancer, you're going for your pre-surgical consult. That's super scary. And then you ask your breast surgeon. I'm getting a little nervous about the time left. Hey, what about this lymphedema thing that happened to my mom, my sister, my neighbor? And they say, yeah, but there's, that's something to worry about, but we don't really have anything to help you deal with that. This is the idea here is we're doing early stage, and we want to detect it before it started destroying vascular fluid. And in that way, you can reverse it. Of course, in the med device world, I was going to say, I'd never say that publicly, I already did, but where we would sell it as a screening tool, not particularly diagnostic. Right. So that's it. That's the pitch.
Which by the way, I mean, we really didn't have a 67-second limit, but but you did great.
Right.
Since we're not on video.
That's a first.
Yeah.
That is, we had a couple of firsts in this episode.
Just so the listeners know, I was giving these guys, you're number one.
Right.
You're number
one.
Yes,
exactly. Yeah. Number one.
Pointing to two awesome friends.
So I don't even know how to end this one.
Yeah. I think we're gonna cover skis.
Should I get on my skis? Yeah. And just ski away?
I think that's perfect.
I think that would be amazing.
That would be amazing. So we got a little music playing in the background.
I want Trumpet of the Swans.
Entrepreneur. It's on. Where are you? Top of the mountain? Middle of the mountain? What's going on? What country are you in?
What country are you in? I, as far as I know, Jimbo, I'm in the United States, but it does appear the signs are written in a funny language. It could be that bottle of water I just drank.
Right. The lack of food.
Yeah. My intermittent fasting. So, all right. So I will clip in.
Yep.
Thanks, guys, for inviting me on. I love you both. I really respect you guys. I mean, in all seriousness, I think I listened to a few shows, and I'm like, wow, I knew it was going to be different with you two guys giving the, emceeing the thing. But the thing I told Eugene this all the time. He's probably like, oh, geez, here we go. But we want to get stuff done in this business. And my, whatever you want to call me, deal maker, entrepreneur kind of guy. We got to be real. We've been through all that hype and nonsense, and look, I made an app, and it's really cool, and you're going to love the colors on it too. Paying attention to what moves the needle, and you guys are like the epitome of that. So it's an honor to hang out with you, virtually over a phone at the top of a mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
That's it. I like it. I like it. You got to be real. That's it. That's it.
Gotta be real.
Like,
that's the key.
There's no more real than this. Like this is.
Yeah. Everybody's got faults. I have a fair number of them, but it's just getting to it. So, all right, man.
Awesome.
Honor and a pleasure.
Honor and a pleasure.
Same. Gentlemen, be good. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Cheerios.
Cheerios, man. Love you.